TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Palestinian Islamists launched a rocket toward Israel's southern communities last night, the first such attack since September the 16th. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan singles out Israel, Cyprus and Syria as the root obstacles to global peace and tranquility. Armenia claims Israel pledged to suspend weapons sales to Azerbaijan, sophisticated weaponry which granted the latter a clear qualitative military edge in the conflict over the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Palestinian Islamists launched a rocket toward Israel's southern communities last night, the first such attack since September the 16th. Rocket alert sirens sounded in the community Kerem Shalom, which is situated adjacent to the Gaza-Israel border, forcing its residents to rush into bomb shelters within the IDF Homefront Command's instructed 15 seconds. Thankfully, the projectile exploded in an uninhabited area, causing no injuries or damage. Approximately 2 hours after the indiscriminate rocket fire toward Israel, an IDF aircraft struck a Hamas military post in the southern Gaza Strip. The target was destroyed, yet no Islamist casualties were reported. In response to the incident, an Israeli intelligence official revealed to TV7 that the Israeli security establishment does not rule out the possibility in which the Islamist Hamas organization will instigate a new round of violence on Israel's southern front. The official explained that a deteriorating situation in the Palestinian enclave is increasingly challenging Hamas's power grip. Therefore, if Qatar would terminate its monthly financial aid to Gaza, it could very well spark a wider conflagration at a time when the Palestinians are increasingly frustrated over the normalization accords between Israel and the Arab world. It is important to mention that in light of the so-called Abraham Accords, which brought about normalized relations between Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain, rival Palestinian factions, including the Islamist Hamas, which controls the Gaza Strip, and Fatah, which controls the West Bank, have reportedly made progress in talks on the matter of confronting Israeli aspirations to attain comprehensive peace agreements with Arab and Muslim states. The latest of the intra-Palestinian meetings was held in the Turkish city of Istanbul, after which the Hamas leadership confirmed that preliminary understandings were indeed reached. Furthermore, in a written statement, Hamas proclaimed that it remains committed to the option of resistance for the purpose of conquering all of Israel, in which it aspires to establish an independent Palestinian state with all of Jerusalem as its capital. Turning to the Turkish capital, Ankara, where President Recep Tayyip Erdogan reiterated his country's unwavering support for Azerbaijan in all that pertains to the conflict with Armenia over the Nagorno-Karabakh territory. Following a presidential cabinet meeting, the Turkish head of state also asserted that the world must rid itself from rogue states, signaling out Israel, Cyprus, and Syria as the root obstacles to global peace and tranquility.
Türkiye olarak en başından beri tüm kalbimizle ve imkanlarımızla Azerbaycan'ın yanında olduğumuzu söylüyoruz. Esasen Azerbaycan'ın işgal altındaki topraklarını kurtarma mücadelesine destek vermek her onurlu devletin vazifesidir. Dünya haydut devletlerden ve onların haydut yöneticilerinden kurtarılmadan insanlığın kalıcı barışa ve huzura kavuşması mümkün değildir. Maalesef özellikle bizim bölgemizde haydut devlet sayısı oldukça fazla. İsrail'den Kıbrıs Rum kesimine ve Suriye rejimine kadar uzanan bu haydut devletler hem kendi vatandaşlarına zulmediyor hem de dünyanın istikrarını bozuyor.
President Erdogan went on to accuse the United States, Russia, and France for being responsible for the latest escalation on the Nagorno-Karabakh front.
Avrupa Güvenlik ve İşbirliği Teşkilatı bünyesinde Amerika, Fransa ve Rusya tarafından oluşturulan Minsk grubu sorunu çözmek yerine adeta çözümsüzlüğe mahkum etti. 30 yıla yakın bir zamandır Minsk üçlüsü zaten bu sorunu ihmal ettiği içindir ki bu duruma gelindi.
It is important to highlight that while Turkey supports Azerbaijan, Russia, Syria, and Iran are evidently backing Armenia. And in contrast to circulating reports, Israel is making extensive efforts to remain neutral in the conflict. A senior Israeli intelligence official explained to TV7 that while Jerusalem identifies with Armenia for cultural and historic reasons, the strategic alliance with Azerbaijan is unshakable. While Azerbaijan supplies Israel with approximately 40% of its oil demand, Jerusalem supplies Baku with sophisticated weaponry for the purpose of deterring its hostile southern neighbor, the Islamic Republic of Iran. However, the commercial weapon sales are increasingly challenging Israel's neutrality, which Azeri officials confirmed that they are using the sophisticated Israeli attack drones in their conflict with Armenia, giving the Azeri armed forces a clear qualitative edge over their Armenian adversaries. This led Armenia to recall its ambassador to Israel, who has not yet returned, despite a reported pledge by Jerusalem to temporarily suspend arms shipments to Azerbaijan. While the Israeli Foreign Ministry said it does not comment on Israel's defense exports, and Azeri officials rejected the report as fake news, a senior Israeli intelligence official told TV7 that the suspension of arms sales during times of conflict is common practice. Separately, it is important to highlight that Iran has been reportedly supplying weaponry to Armenia. However, these reports were naturally denied by Iran's foreign ministry.
ببینید ایران مسیر گذر ارمنستان هست و ما متعهدیم که این مسیر گذر اقلام غیر نظامی برای مردم ارمنستان و دولت ارمنستان حفظ بشه در سیاست حسن همسایگی و این هیچ تضادی با سیاست اصولی جمهوری اسلامی ایران برای اینکه اجازه نده هیچ سوء استفاده ای از این مجاری انتقال کالاهای غیر نظامی به ارمنستان صورت بگیره هیچ تضادی با اون نداره. ما اجازه نمیدیم که هیچ سوء استفاده ای از این مرزها بشه.
Instead, the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman made an unusual statement in which he voiced support for Azerbaijan's territorial claim to the predominantly Armenian Nagorno-Karabakh territory.
تمامی مسائل جمهوری اسلامی ایران همین است که ضمن حل و فصل دائمی نه حل و فصل موقتی حل و فصل دائمی این بحران چند دهه‌ای در چارچوبی که عرض کردم حفظ حاکمیت ارضی خروج نیروها از شهرهای اشغالی و چارچوب سیاسی و گفتگوهای زماندار ما بتونیم بلافاصله این خشونت‌ها را متوقف کنیم بیشترین ضربه را مردم بی‌دفاع و مناطق غیر نظامی دارن می‌خورن.
Returning to Turkey, where U.S. Acting Assistant Secretary of State in the Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs, Philip Rieker, stressed that Washington, along with its co-chairs of the Minsk Group, including Moscow and Paris, are making extensive efforts to end hostilities in the Nagorno-Karabakh region.
In the broader region, we see increased tensions in the Caucasus over Nagorno-Karabakh. I know we'll want to talk about that. We, along with the other co-chairs of the Minsk Group, have called for both Azerbaijan and Armenia to step back to end military action and get back to the dialogue process. We can diminish tensions in all of these areas. That is better for our broad security, stability. That gives us an opportunity to focus on the prosperity agenda, increased trade, energy, resources, infrastructure, development, all of the things that will make a real difference in the lives of the Turkish people, of Americans, of the whole region.
The American Acting Assistant Secretary also expressed Washington's close relations with Ankara and lauded what he referred to be some positive momentum on the Eastern Mediterranean vis-à-vis tensions surrounding Turkey and Greece.
Well, as you know, the United States and Turkey have a long and strong history as allies, NATO allies, as vital security partners. Secretary Pompeo has been very clear in his recent travels, but throughout his term as secretary, the importance of the Eastern Mediterranean and this broader region, and the importance of the U.S.-Turkey relationship. Certainly we see some positive momentum on the Eastern Med. We think Turkey's taken the right steps towards moving back to exploratory talks with Greece. There is an opportunity to decrease tension, to lower the risks, and do that by sitting down together.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to once again pray for Armenia and Azerbaijan for conflict resolution, peace, and their people's salvation, in addition to our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem, the salvation of Israel, and for all those who are impacted by the corona contagion and its economic ramifications worldwide. I would also like to thank all of you, our partners, for your dedicated support for TV7's ministry here in Jerusalem, both by means of prayer and finance. Your contributions and spiritual backing are a vital lifeline for all of our operations. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Tov and Chag Sukkot Sameach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.